approach the sigil on the stone. Magic glitters and swirls from it erratically, as if malfunctioning. It looks slightly dangerous.
A hand? Anyone? Ow! Perhaps I should have clarified? A helping hand? Anyone? Whatever you're doing is working wonders. Now a quick little pull should do the trick. Oh. Hello. I'm Gale of Waterdeep. Apologies. Usually better at this. A bit shocked, but friend, it's a relief and a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Say, but I know you, don't I? In a manner of speaking. You were on the Norse Lloyd as well. And I can only assume you too were on the receiving end of a rather unwelcome insertion in the ocular region. No use sugarcoating it, is there? The insertee we speak of, this parasite, are you aware that after a period of excruciating gestation, it will turn us into mind flayers? It's a process known as ceremorphosis, and let me assure you, it is to be avoided. You don't happen to be a cleric by any chance, do you? A doctor? Surgeon? Uncannily adroit with a knitting needle?
You seem to know enough about our condition to realize it's beyond most clerics' skills.
Most, no doubt, but I find myself hoping to be in the presence of the few. You don't happen to be one of them. As we've established, few enough can. It's not exactly a common affliction. We're most certainly going to need a healer, and soon, too. How about we lend each other a helping hand once more and look for a healer together? Most excellent. A parasite shared is a parasite halved, or something to that effect. Oh, but before you think you're about to embark on a journey with most ill-mannered a man, thank you for pulling me out of that stone. It was an act of foresighted kindness, I assure you. For I have the feeling ample opportunities will present themselves for me to return the favor. Go to hell. Ha! You're a good sport. Go to hell. An everyday expression. So trivial it's almost meaningless. But we've seen hell. It's real. And it isn't trivial. Devils, dragons, mind flayers. They used to be abstracts. Pictures on a piece of paper. What a difference a day makes. Now we have tadpoles slithering through our heads like carnivorous feti. That's not abstract. That's the spirit. Let's be up with the lark. Find a healer before the wee one gets hungry. Be with you in a moment.
indulging in a spot of vanity. Handsome devil, aren't I? Be that as it may.
Ceramorphosis. What does it make you think of? Spot on. Day 1, fever and memory loss. Day 2, hallucinations and graying skin. Day 3, hair loss and blood leaking from all orifices. Need to go on? Day 4, excruciating pain as the skeleton and organs reform and reposition. Day 5, the host personality has disappeared. Fingers and toes and limbs elongate. I take it you get the picture? Day 6, the flesh around the mouth splits to make way for tentacles. Day 7, a mind flayer is born. This is the annotated version, of course. Spot on again. Our orifices remain blissfully unblooded, our heads remain clear, and our blood temperature normal. Any expert will agree this is abnormal. I'll toast to that. The pragmatic in me, however, sees only the silence before the storm. Something to sleep on. We should get some rest.
Not versed in magic, are you? Oh, I do apologize. I meant to ask, are you studied in magic? Namely, are you a wizard? Which you are not. If you meet any elder wizards, let me know. There is a matter I'd like to seek advice on from a master.
Tiring business, isn't it? All this traveling and adventuring. Why don't we take a little break, Allow ourselves a few moments of rest? Gives me a chance to talk to you about something, well, rather important. We've been on the road together for a while now, haven't we? Survived some perils, overcame some obstacles. Ever since you were kind enough to free me from that stone, I've seen you demonstrate remarkable guile and courage. The way you diffused the tension between Zevlor and Aradin. The way you got Korga to release the girl. In short, I've grown to trust you. The reason I make a point of saying this is that I've grown confident enough to tell you something I've yet to tell another living soul, except for my cat. You see, I have this condition. Very different from the parasite we share, but just as deadly. No, it cannot be cured. And I assure you I've left no page unturned in reaching that conclusion. I can keep this condition under control, as indeed I've done for a significant amount of time, but that was under different circumstances altogether. Home, in Waterdeep. What it comes down to is this. Every so often, I need to get my hands on a powerful magical item and absorb the weave inside. I can say no more on the matter. Not now, anyway. Just trust me when I say it's all of vital importance. It's been days since I last consumed an artifact, since before we were abducted. It's only a matter of time before my craving returns. That is why I turn to you. I need you to help me find magic items to consume. It is vital. Dare I say it? Critical. We've already done the finding. In fact, you have one in your possession. You know for yourself how hard-won such an item was, and it will be no easier when even more are required to assuage my hunger. There'll be danger involved, or great cost. Valid question. If not out of the simple goodness of your heart, then perhaps your own self-interest might be sufficient motivation. Having a wizard like me around is quite the boon when facing the perils that stalk these lands. It'd be far harder for me to assist you if I could barely stand upright. Please,
Trust me. Your help could be the difference between life and death. Thank you. I see my trust in you was not misplaced. I'm sure we won't have to look very far to find what I need. Faerun overflows with magic-infused treasure. As do our packs, as a matter of fact. We've such an item already in our possession. Primed for the moment the need arises. I hope I can count on you. I'm listening. We all have our burdens, one way or the other. Let's see. I hail from Waterdeep, City of Splendors. I am a wizard of considerable acclaim and scholar of exceptional accomplishment. I have a cat, a library, and a weakness for a good glass of wine. And if the mood takes me, I'm known to try my hand at poetry. There. Certainly. That I have a great respect for privacy, for instance, especially my own. I've known a few warlocks in my time. Talented, of course, though sometimes too eager to listen to the devils on their shoulders. Comes with the territory, unfortunately. Think of it as tribute. The kind a king might pay to a more powerful neighbor to avoid invasion. As long as I pay, there will be peace. But should I ever stop, along comes a war. I can assure you, the battlefield would extend well beyond the borders of my body alone. Do you feel as flattered as I do? Fighting to dine with a devil. Don't let his bluster fool you. All that talk of desperation merely illustrates his own. I think he wants something from us, badly. And in that knowledge lies our opportunity. Our souls. But I suspect that's but his opening offer. Let me play the devil's advocate. The man is too eager. Do not dismiss his offer out of hand. If there's one quality all the denizens of the hells embody, it's ambition. A quality they share with many humans, come to think of it. I'm in the foggiest. But, based on the evidence before us, we can make certain deductions as to why he sought out our merry band. Fact one, there's something very strange and very powerful about our tadpoles. Fact two, a devil offers to take it away. Devils aren't known to aid mortals out of simple kindness. Whatever Raphael wants, we must be the key to getting it, along with our tadpoles. So, I say for now, we wait. If I'm right, Raphael will seek us out again, and when he does, there's a mighty bargain to be made. Remember his Cormyrean rhyme? Down came the claw. Perhaps we should start growing our nails. You'll have to speak slowly. I'm finding it quite difficult to concentrate with my condition gnawing at my insides like a teething displacer kitten. That is most gratifying to hear. May I? Thank you. Oh, that hit the spot. I can feel it work. The magic, it's like a lullaby that sings to sleep the demon inside. A metaphorical demon, I haste to point out, but no less dangerous. And no less bound to wake up again to continue its ravages. Such is the nature of all monsters. it's not so bad once you get used to it. And, on the plus side, my tower in Waterdeep has never been so free of clutter. Sincerely, though, I understand I ask a lot from you with few answers in return. But in time, all will be told. My lady, I bow to your boundless kindness. My condition is worsening again. I need to consume some powerful magic or it may become volatile. Thank you. It is a strange experience. Each time anew, like a lost soul is spelunking through the darkness that is me, only to be sacrificed on the dread altar of the heart. Somehow the second artifact hasn't had the effect of the first. It's somewhat relieved the discomfort, but I fear my hunger hasn't quite... You do plenty for me, more than you realize. But this cannot be remedied. The magic isn't having the effect it should have. It's not like the last time, like a rainstorm that quells a forest fire. It merely drizzles. The embers still sizzle, the fire remains undefeated. I'm not certain what's going on, but nothing good. Please, I need to think. I need to retrace my steps to a glade of calm and think. Thank you for the artifact. A great deal of trouble it was, too. A great deal of trouble indeed.
Well met. I am a magical projection of Gale of Waterdeep, and if you see this manifestation, that means I have prematurely perished. However, for reasons that cannot be disclosed, it is of vital importance that my death be remedied at your earliest convenience. You may rest assured that I do not speak out of self-preservation alone. Many lives depend on my return to the living within the span of 2 days. I trust I've made myself clear. That will be covered by the "for reasons that cannot be disclosed" clause, so let's move on. I have upon my deceased person a magical item that can accomplish my return. But such is the value and rarity that it is protected by a multi-layered security protocol. I will now explain the protocol. Step 1 is to retrieve from my person a pouch I wear over my heart. Next, you must unthread the purple seam that seals it in a counterclockwise fashion. Do not touch any other colored strand. Inside the pouch, you will find a folded letter and a tiny flute. Unfold the letter and note the markings in the top and bottom corners. These are the notes you will need to play. Starting from the bottom right, play the notes in correct order, clockwise this time. Upon completion of the tune, a magma method will appear, which will pose the following question. Iskcha Chisnaga. This is Ignan for "What is my name?" The answer is Kasitrak Ash. Pronounce the name correctly, and the method will breathe on the letter. Stay clear, because the little scamp can melt metal. Words will now appear on the letter's surface, effectively turning the letter into a scroll of true resurrection. Use it to bring me back to life. I think ingenious is the word you're looking for. Now, repeat my instructions back to me, please. In that case, this will be an easy exercise. Step 1. Have it your way. I can only hope your memory stretches further than your patience. Best of luck with the protocol. May my cold, dead hands soon be refilled with the warmth of life so they can shake yours in gratitude.
My word, you did it! Oh, it's good to be alive. My hands are still cold, so that handshake will have to wait, but in the meantime... Thank you. Oh, It's a relief to be back on beautiful Faerun. The dreariness of the fugue plane oppresses one's soul so very quickly. That said, I assume you have some questions for me. Only fair to warn you I've precious few answers to spare. I apologize if that sounds thankless. It's just that some secrets simply cannot be revealed. I suppose that after all you've done for me, I should be at least a little bit forthcoming. Tell you what, I will answer one question that you may have, to the best of my ability, if I can. When I told you I need powerful magic to keep my condition under control, I didn't tell you why. Well, here's part of the why. I am dangerous. Not because I want to be, but because of an error I made in the past. It makes me dangerous, even in death. You brought me back to life, and for that I am in your debt. I was surrounded by danger. It could happen again. If it does, bring me back again. You must, for the sake of many. My apologies. Huh. Not quite myself just yet. I had the strangest dream last night. A visitor came to me. A vision of unparalleled beauty and power. She told me she was watching over me, protecting me, and that our tadpoles could prove beneficial if we embrace what powers they have to offer. An uncanny apparition. Not entirely sure what to make of it. Very curious. In all my readings on the effects of illithid parasites, I've never come across any accounts of correlating dreams between infected parties. Another unique quality of our predicament, perhaps. Are you inclined to take these visitors at their word? If so, we have far more to learn about the powers at play here. Our ignorance as to the exact nature and intent of our saviors is hardly cause for celebration. I hope your confidence proves well-founded. God knows we could use all the help we can get. The instructions were easy enough, weren't they? If slightly elaborate. Like I said, I'm dangerous even in death. I'm merely trying to protect those around me. I find that a healthy amount of theatrics, a voice from the beyond, a magic flute, a friendly, if highly combustible magma method, tends to make for a more compelling case. If nothing else, I'm sure I piqued your curiosity. We all have our burdens, one way or the other. I've been dreaming of our enigmatic visitor again. She told me our purpose was to take on this cult of the Absolute, to infiltrate its ranks and bring it down from the inside. She even offered me greater powers, the result of some manipulation of the tadpole's psionic abilities. Given the magnitude of what we're up against, I see no harm in considering the benefit this offer might afford us. Could be the only way to reach this source in one piece. As existential evils go, the Absolute certainly seems an adversary worth halting in its tracks. Any opportunities for us to indulge our tadpole's capabilities are hardly on the same scale. Trifles, when one considers the bigger picture. Come on then, don't leave me in suspense. How are you feeling? No errant tentacles? No sudden cravings for a more cerebral diet? Replete with ribaldry as always. Well, you could provide no better proof that you are not, in fact, about to turn into a mind flare. Famously humorless illithids, the tyrannical enslavement of all other living creatures hardly lends itself to levity. Should your wit begin to suffer, Only then must we worry. Was there another matter you wish to discuss? My condition likes being ignored as little as I do. I must consume another artifact. And soon. Thank you. Good gods. It hardly has any effect. Oh, Mystra, have mercy on us all. Listen, I need to speak to you, to all of you. It would be unconscionable of me to remain silent. I might just be about to remedy that. You have to know who I was. You have to know who I really am. What I am is a walking shadow of the promise I once held. I'm what one might call a wizard prodigy. Who from an early age could not only control the weave, but compose it. Much like a musician or a poet. Such was my skill that it earned me the attention of the mother of magic herself. The Lady of Mysteries. The goddess Mystra. She revealed herself to me and she became my teacher. In time, she became my muse. And later, even my lover. I am, after all, the villain of the tale. We enjoyed each other's company. Body, mind, and soul. But even so, I desired more. You see, no matter how powerful a wizard we mortals can become, we never scratch more than the surface of the weave. Mystra keeps us in check. There are boundaries she doesn't let us cross. Yet, every time I was with her, I stood on the precipice, gazing into the wonders that lay beyond. I sought to cross her boundaries. I tried to convince her. I pouted. I pleaded. Swore my ambition was only to serve her better. She only smiled and told me to be contented. But inconceivable as it seems to me now, I shared a bed with a goddess, and yet I wasn't satisfied. So I sought to prove myself worthy to her instead. We come now to the crux of my folly. Shall I share the story behind it, or would you rather head straight to its sordid finale? Very well. Here goes. Once upon a very long time ago, a mighty lord lived in a tower. A flying tower, to be precise. I'll save his history for another time, but the gist of it is that he sought to usurp the goddess of magic so that he could become a god himself. He almost managed, but not quite. And his entire empire, Netheril, came crashing down around him as he turned to stone. The magic that was unleashed that day was phenomenal. Roiling like the prime chaos that outdates creation. Even the weave itself could not withstand the onslaught. It fractured, then shattered, and all magic was lost to the mortal realms. Until the day Mystra returned. She restored the weave, reuniting all its scattered shards. Or so I thought. Until, in the course of my studies, I learned of a book. A Netherese tome in which a piece of the fractured weave had been sealed beyond her reach. What if, I thought, what if, after all this time, I could return this lost part of herself to the goddess? You know me. My gestures can never be grand enough. I was certain that this deed of raw power, draped in romance, would convince Mystra to take me by the hand and welcome me into her hitherto forbidden domains. I was mistaken. I obtained the fabled book and took it into my study. As for what happened next... Here. Place your hand over my heart. Let me show you.
You feel the tadpole quiver as you realize Gale is letting you into the dark. You see through Gale's eyes, staring down the corridors of a dread memory. A book, bound, and suddenly opened. Inside there are no pages, only a swirling mass of blackest weave that pounces. Its teeth, its claws, it's unstoppable as it digs through and becomes part of you. And gods, is it ever hungry.
Thankfully, the moment I absorbed the fragment wasn't enough to kill me outright. It was only the beginning. This Netherese blight, this orb, for lack of a better word, is balled up inside my chest. And it needs to be fed. As long as I absorb traces of the weave from potent enough sources, it remains quiet. Were it ever to fully destabilize, however. Rather worse, actually. I will erupt. I don't know the exact magnitude of the eruption, but given my studies of Netherese magic, I'd say even a fragment as small as the one I carry, it'd level a city the size of Waterdeep. I know. All of this. It must feel like a betrayal. Say the word, and we'll part ways. Once I'd step out of the protective aura of the artifact, it wouldn't be long before the Absolute overtakes me. I'd never let that happen, so I'd aim for a swift end. I would consume some midnight tears and venture as deep into the Underdark as I possibly could, till they cloud my eyes forever. With a bit of luck, I'd manage to make it to a Mind Flare colony, so that when the orb erupts, one loud, last song of vengeance would reverberate through the dark. Wouldn't be a heroic end, but coarsely poetic enough in its justice.
If having dangerous otherworldly objects stuck in your skin is wrong, then Gale and I both have to go. We're not really splitting up, are we?
That is a great relief. Oh, a great relief indeed. You truly are a soul that steals my own. From all my new rallied heart, I thank you. I thank you all. I understand if you stand against me. I'm humbled if you stand with me. Either way, I will do my best not to let you down. I stand at a precipice, but if you do not give up hope, neither shall I. I'll fight. I'll resist as long as I can. Now, even I am tired of the sound of my own voice. Let us venture forth. Oh. My, you startled me. It's miles away. In a manner of speaking, yes. I was lost in prayer of all things. Mystra, for indeed it was her image I conjured, commands all magic. Salvation, if such a thing exists, is hers to bestow or withhold. And yet even now, more than I fear losing my own self and soul, I fear losing my command of her art. Magic is my life. I've been in touch with the weave for as long as I can remember. There's nothing like it. It's like music, poetry, physical beauty, all rolled into one and given expression through the senses. Would you like to experience this? Then follow my lead.
Now you.
You feel something strange, like a kind word and a kind touch at the same time. It's warm and comfortable.
Excellent. Now, repeat after me. Athran Mistraril Kantrak Eo.
Suddenly, the scent of rosewater and a sense of well-being. A sliver of weave that tastes sweet on the tongue.
Very good. Now, I want you to picture in your mind the concept of harmony, as true as you can.
You see, or is it sense, the presence of a woman. The woman who hovered over Gale's palm. There's something like the anticipation of a kiss, then the pleasure of being cloaked in peace. You are safe. You are nestled in the cup of Mystra's hand.
You did it! You're channeling the weave. How does it feel? That it does.
The weave connects you. The moment feels intimate. You realize the weave is making you one. You have but to imagine your desire, and Gale will know it.
I didn't think.
You perceive quick-fire gusts of embarrassment, trepidation, and finally, elation.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting. But it is a pleasant image, to be sure. Most pleasant, in fact. Most welcome.
The weave evaporates, and as it does so, you realize the night feels suddenly cold and lonesome.
Oh. There it goes. How easily things slip away from us, no matter how hard they were in the obtaining. Good night. I enjoyed sharing a moment of magic with you.
Always a delight to speak with you. What can I do? I assure you it's not. Don't get me wrong. You did well. The somatic component, the verbal component, even the focus on the inner self that invites Mystra in. But I was still your conduit. To perform such a feat alone requires much and arduous study. Of course, as a warlock, your patron endows you with many such powers, otherwise unattainable. I do hope you cherish that gift. Oh, I was surprised, but pleasantly so. Just like I said, amid the madness that has befallen us, it seems almost out of place to think of a kiss. And yet, now more than ever, it's important to recall what makes us human. Well, you know what I mean. A stolen glance, that sudden heartbeat.
Sometimes the little things are worth more than kingdoms. They promise things to come.
Beautiful night, don't you think? Nothing like a brush with destruction to make one appreciate the majesty of a celestial canvas. It's a view I would once have shared with my companion, though definitely unaccompanied by such revelry. She preferred it when we were alone, curled up before a crackling hearth with some ancient, esoteric tome between us. Ink glinting in the firelight.
By a Garon's lost nose! No!
Tara is not any cat. She's a Tressum. And given your confusion, I'm guessing you've never met one. They're brilliant creatures. Fine company for any self-respecting wizard. She'd be most impressed by our efforts saving these tieflings. Proud, even. And I've given her little to be proud of recently. After I was afflicted with my condition, I locked myself in my tower for an entire year. I was inconsolable, wallowing in my self-inflicted tragedy. I'd given up on myself. But Tara never did. It was her encouragement, her research that led me to my treatment. Once we knew that magically infused items were the key, she went out to find them for me. She saved my life. After so long being cared for by someone else, it feels good to have repaid the favor. Not directly to Tara, but to these poor tieflings. I'm sure she would approve. Sometimes. But I imposed it on myself, after all. I set up enough wards to keep an army at bay. Never mind the few colleagues who sought to inquire about my welfare. Tara did her best to keep my spirits up, of course, but there's only so much one Tressum can make up for one's entire social circle. She was often gone, seeking items to treat my condition. You're the first person I've spent any significant time with in a year or more. Spending time in your company, I realized that I may have left behind the greater part of my wit and sensitivity in my tower. Wait, are you saying... You know what? I think I've clearly had far too much wine. And you've had nowhere near enough. I think this is a conversation best held back on. For now. With my condition as volatile as it is, I fear any undue excitement may tip it over the edge, so to speak. Go. Indulge in the frivolities. They're good for the heart. And mine will be all the lighter to see you enjoying yourself.
Buzz of celebration quiets to a soothing hum as you approach your bunk. You've picked up a few pleasant memories on your journey amongst your struggles. Or perhaps you will be the one taking him.
Word of advice. Wizards' towers can be volatile places. They keep their secrets buried and their dangers close to the surface. One misplaced spell and you might find yourself thrown into limbo, fighting off a death slard with a very nasty temper. I'm sure whatever's on your mind poses no such risk, but caution is to be advised. Now, what can I do for you? Ah, quite. A misadventure from my days as an apprentice at Blackstaff Academy. I was but a child, only a few months into my studies, but already I knew I was destined for greatness. No one believed me, of course. So I decided to prove it, to cast a spell with the Blackstaff itself. From one perspective, I succeeded. I opened a portal. However, instead of pointing it at the first-year dormitory, I found myself pulled into limbo, facing a very irritated death slad. Fortunately, the Blackstaff himself came to the rescue, hauling me back from the brink and straight into several months of writing lines, or rather, finessing my autograph. Now, much as I enjoy reminiscing about such tomfoolery, I believe we've more pressing matters at hand. Is there anything else?
Who there, wanderer? Stay thy course a moment to indulge an old man.
Elminster?
The very same, Gale. And a fair bit miffed he is, too, finding himself forced to expose his best pair of boots to so many miles of country road on your behalf.
Originally, Shadowdale. Lately, the fanciest inns of Waterdeep. Meet Elminster Ormar. A good friend of mine, but rather more significantly, he's the most famed and respected wizard in the realms.
Am I, indeed? Most famed and respected errand boy, more like. I was bid to spare neither time nor my own self to find you. She sent me, Gale. You know of whom I speak.
But why? Out with it, Elminster. Please.
Young man, has your sojourn away from Waterdeep washed away your decorum as well as your patience? Nigh a 10-day I've gone without honest fare, worthy of the name. Drank naught, but what the sky entitled my thirst. Why, some bread, cheese, and a cup of wine would appear unto me a feast. Surely you would begrudge me a mite of rest and repast before I get out with it? And a great kindness that would be. See, Gale? Even in these barren parts, the art of hospitality begets inspired new works. If only one keeps up the practice.
Oh, for the love of...
This way, then? To your camp. Oh, don't dawdle now, lad. You're the one who's in such a frightful hurry.
Oh, nigh on 13 centuries old and he still thinks with his stomach. We'd best follow and see if he's more disposed to speak plainly once it's stopped its grumbling. A wise choice. Better to indulge your curiosity than Elminster's appetite.
Yes, what a delightful wedge of old Elthurian that was. Doesn't do to parley on an empty stomach, you know. Makes one's words frivolous when they should be grave. Plenty to digest, after all. A good deal to stew over, if you will. Words ladled with import should be savored so as to better absorb their meaning. Wouldn't you agree?
Elminster!
Right. You see, that is to say, Gale, my boy, I've come to address a most pressing matter. I'll speak as plainly as I can, forswearing the accustomed frills that decorate my speech. I'm here on behalf of Mystra. The message and the charge I bring you are hers.
The long-awaited question. Now, if you please, Elminster, for the too long-awaited answer.
You know where you went wrong, Gale. No, we needn't dwell on that here and now. But even so, you're to be given a chance of redemption.
Mystra would consider forgiveness.
She would consider what she considers to be forgiveness. Mystra is aware of the misadventures that have befallen you both. She knows of your strife with the Absolute, that most insidious of evils. Alas, the creature that afflicts you, the ill-begotten magic that it weaves, is inextricably conjoined with both the greater purpose and the greater master that it serves. You must know that the Absolute is more dangerous than you can possibly conceive. It threatens all who live, even those who are undying. It threatens the gods, the weave, the very fabric of the universe itself. That is why I have come here to charge you, Gale, with its destruction. It is Mystra's belief that only you can.
The orb.
Precisely. Mystra has granted me the power to stop the clock, as it were, on the orb's rush to overpower you. Instead, you will be able to unleash its lethal combustion at will.
Interesting. This could be help, or hindrance. We shall have to see.
You must find the heart of the Absolute, whatever that may be, and use yourself as the catalyst that will burn it from this world.
He is not. But it seems that Mystra is.
It brings me no pleasure saying this, my friend. But such is Mystra's will. Yours must be the sacrifice that will undo the Absolute. And for your sacrifice, you will be redeemed. Such is Mystra's promise. With that, I've said my sorry piece, and need only bestow unto thee the charm I was bid. Mina hastra mistraril Italion thras annas dithra. It is done. Both charge and charm have been committed into your care. To you, I commit into care Gale himself. I count on you to shepherd him well on this strangest of journeys.
Or some other fortune altogether.
Like moons make swell and wane the nescient seas, so too the sky-strewn gods ordain the tidal fates of mortal days. And yet, an ocean born in lonely hours, come ebb, come flow, come all that is beyond the breadth of our dominion, be a moon unto yourself. Even the waves of fate can break upon the shores of will. Farewell, my friend.
Farewell, Elminster. I'm glad she chose you. An audience with Elminster is never less than memorable. I'd have hoped to introduce you to him in less dire circumstances. But those are hard to come by these days. It's not a demand he wanted to make of me. As Mistress chosen, he had no choice but to deliver her message, however much it pained him to do so. For Mystra to have sent him, the severity of her bidding could not be clearer, or weigh more heavily on me. Time seems so infinite when you're young. A month is an age. A year is a lifetime. It is a strange feeling to realize how little of it one might have left. Of course, you offer the clearest solution to our problem. All I have to do is find the right place and time, close my eyes, and let go. Then the slate will be clean. Wrongs will be righted, the Absolute will be gone, and I along with it. I've no doubt she has the power to do so, but as for the permission, AO would not look kindly on her meddling in mortal affairs.
Divine intervention has a tendency to make things worse, not better. As for Elminster, he saved the realms more times than legend can recount. But to take on a god is no easy feat, even for him. My orb is the best chance we have. And only I can wield it. That's the one saving grace. Seems the orb is now stable, at least until I get to where I need to be. That remains ahead of us for now. The heart of the Absolute must be discovered before I can stop its beating. Then I suppose there is nothing more to be done but find the heart of the Absolute and stop its beating. Audience with Elminster is never less than memorable. I'd have hoped to introduce you to him in less dire circumstances. But those are hard to come by these days. The Doddering Act is merely an illusion, one he's most adept at maintaining. Elminster is the most formidable wizard in the realms. Perhaps in existence. For Mystra to have sent him, the severity of her bidding could not be clearer, or weigh more heavily on me. Time seems so infinite when you're young. A month is an age. A year is a lifetime. It is a strange feeling to realize how little of it one might have left. Of course, we offer the clearest solution to our problem. All I have to do is find the right place and time, close my eyes, and let go. Then the slate will be clean. Wrongs will be righted, the Absolute will be gone, and I along with it. I've no doubt she has the power to do so, but as for the permission, Ao would not look kindly on her meddling in mortal affairs. Divine intervention has a tendency to make things worse, not better. As for Elminster, he saved the realms more times than legend can recount. But to take on a god is no easy feat, even for him. My orb is the best chance we have. And only I can wield it. Possibly the most spectacular one ever conceived. But essentially, yes, I'm living on borrowed time, in more ways than one. Perhaps this is how it must be. That remains ahead of us for now. The heart of the Absolute must be discovered before I can stop its beating. Then I suppose there is nothing more to be done but find the heart of the Absolute and stop its beating.
I can't believe Mistress demanding Gale sacrifice himself to destroy the Absolute. It's just a waste of a perfectly good cult that we could be controlling. And a waste of a perfectly good Gale, I suppose.
I can't believe Mystra actually expects Gale to just sacrifice himself like that. Seems like a waste of a fine mind.
A shame my first brush with the famed Elminster couldn't be a tad more optimistic. Listen, I might invoke the Triad from time to time, appeal to Helm, but I'm no man of faith. Not like Gale. I don't know what drives a man to consider his own death, among countless others, to be an appropriate exchange for his goddess's forgiveness. To me, it all sounds like nonsense. The faith that matters most is that which you hold in yourself, in the ones that most matter to you. Big Bomb be damned. Gale's got everything he needs to defeat the Absolute already. Talent, nerve, and powerful allies at his side. I hope he'll come to see that.
Elminster. Even the Githyanki have heard tell of the Sage of Shadowdale. Some of his works have been translated to Tirsu. That doesn't mean his every word carries wisdom, however. Near as I can tell, Mystra demands Gale's faith, but holds no faith in him. Why else would she demand Gale sacrifice himself, and perhaps so many others? Does she not think he can destroy the Absolute with his own immense talents? Does she not know the mighty company that he keeps? Demanding Vlaakith may be, but she acts for the good of the Githyanki people. Mystra is concerned only for herself. Bah. Perhaps he'd find forgiveness in a fiery death. But I can't help but wonder why he'd want it at all.
Oh, was that Gale's granddad? It doesn't ring a bell. But all right. Must have had something important to say to Gale if he came all this way. Good news, I hope. Whoa now, he's got a... Well, I guess that would explain a little, but... Mystra? I mean, this is a lot to take in. What's he going to do? Well, tell him to pick the right one. Or better yet, I'll do it. Fucking wizards, man. They always need help picking the simple, obvious option. If Mystra can't think of another way to stop the Absolute than sacrificing Gale, she's no god worth worshipping. I'll say that to Gale in, you know, gentle terms.
Always a delight to speak with you. What can I do? She expects those who seek to use the weave to do so honestly, and with respect for its potential to destroy, as well as its potential to save. I doubt she's asked many of her followers to blow themselves up. That's a fate she's bequeathed exclusively to me. She wouldn't ask such a thing if it weren't our only means of survival. However much she's annoyed at me. Oh, you know me, ever the optimist. I'm trying to focus on the positives. Truth is, I was living on borrowed time already. Consuming those items would only have kept the orb sated for so long. If anything, I feel more at peace than I have in months. At least now I know my death will have purpose. It won't be a distant bang in the footnotes of history. Ah, yes. Karsus. Karsus was perhaps the most powerful wizard that ever lived. The child who would be a god, the elves called him. And he tried. With a spell of his own devising, he endeavored to usurp in one fell swoop the power of the goddess of magic. Mistril, she was called then. Imagine what it must have felt like. To be a god. To know yourself, to be untouchable. To be mistaken. As Karsus aimed his spell at her, she began to unravel. And with her, the entire weave. Too late did he realize what he had unleashed. It would have been the end of everything had not Mistril sacrificed herself. The goddess of magic is all magic. By dying, the entire weave was lost, and the spell that challenged a god failed. It was the end of Mistril, the end of Karsus, and the end of an entire civilization. As the child who would be a god was turned to stone, his empire came crashing down around him. The floating cities of Netheril were no more. An event that came to be known as Karsus's folly. For a spell, Mistril was reborn as Mystra. Upon her return, the weave returned with her. Now, so many centuries later, I try to follow in the footsteps of Karsus. Not to destroy Mystra, but to prove my love for her. I tried to control only a fraction of the magic that was unleashed that fateful day. I merely sought to return one tiny diamond to an imperfect crown. Gale's folly, one might call it. History, repetition. It's the way things go. It's quite thrilling. Fight off such grim creatures as this region throws at us. Especially being at your side. I, once read a book that explained in some detail the effect a brush with danger has on one's desire for, other forms
of stimulation. Have you ever read anything on that subject? I can't imagine anywhere that could turn my heart from you, cursed or otherwise. You'd always be as beautiful and as impressive. Perhaps it's just the thrill of our near undead experience talking. Standing at your side through such darkness and disrepair. It only makes me want you more. Unfortunately, this is neither the time nor the place to indulge such feelings, so you must be patient and push all such thoughts aside. For now. Was there anything else you wish to discuss?
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of Gale of Waterdeep. He wishes to extend you an invitation for a private conversation in a more suitable locale. Gladly. Simply follow yonder path, and soon you will find him.
I love this time of night. There's an almost reverent silence that accompanies the peak of darkness, when you'd almost believe the dawn will never break. The cradle of eternity. The timelessness of lovers. That most beautiful of fantasies.
Indeed. The curse is still present, of course.
Just veiled and at arm's length for now.
Not a trick I can repeat often, but tonight is different. This may be my last night alive.
I wanted it to be under a canopy of beauty and wonder, and with company to match. I thought this place might bring me peace. I thought it might make the weight of what I must do feel a little lighter. But I'm not so sure. Thank you. But even if we do find another way, perhaps this is the right way. The end fate wishes for me. There is no point in running from the inevitable. Better to meet it on my own terms. Resigned to it, rather. But that is not to say I am without fear. Far from it. Stay with me a while, will you? Day will come all too soon, even in this place. One moment with you could sate me for a lifetime, and prize the fear from my heart. I'm so very glad you came to share this with me. I know this is all unreal, but I created it for you. You must know that you're very special to me. If things were different, if we were home, I'd have taken time to do things properly, to say it all better. But time is short. I'm in love with you. That's a relief. It would be a shame to spend my final hours making an ass of myself.
have any say in the matter.
I want it to be perfect. To bond with you in the way the gods do, intertwining our spirits in visions of the weave. How about the perfect night in Waterdeep? Yes? Let's imagine how it would be.
The scene is this. You and I stand in the room that is the center of my universe. Sculptures, the paintings, the walls livened by the spines of 1,000 books. The grand piano plays the Lyrian suites all by itself, and as we look out beyond the arches that lead to the terrace, we see the weary sun take its daily dive into the sea. My favorite spot. Many times, evening turned to night and back to daybreak once more while I sat here, lost in words. Oh, allow me to live dangerously while I still can. This one here is called The Art of the Night. It details the first 1,000 nights of a newlywed king and queen. They turned everything they did into an art. The art of conversation, the art of taste, time-honored and newly acquired. The art of the body, the exploration and acceptance of the self and the other. The art of the night itself. I say we take a page from their book. Then let's set the book aside and be blank slates on blank sheets. Delightfully new. What do you say? The stars will be our bed. Come here. Why confine ourselves to the pleasures of mortal flesh? There's but one stitch in a vast tapestry. Let me show you more. When you wake, it will be back at our camp. Back in our small, dirty, bloody patch of existence. But stay with me now. There are endless worlds out there. Countless ways to declare love. Infinite ways to express it. Too much for one night. But we shall try.
told ya. If I didn't know better, I'd say you're falling in love. I should have known Gale would weave his spell on you. Who could resist? I know I had... well... You know I liked you. Like you. But I want you to be with someone who can make you happy. If that's Gale, that's Gale. My friendship. Wonderful. Look, I'll be all right. Give me a night to lick my wounds and patch up my pride, and I'll be right back to crushing evil before sunrise. Hope you don't regret throwing over all this fire for all that hot air. One will get you through winter, the other will recite you a load of codices. But hey, to each their own.
I am as honored as I am enamored. I'm not the only one who longs for you. Yeah, you chose me. I thought perhaps Karlach had won your heart. To say she is a strong woman is an understatement for the ages. I must admit I am surprised, not to mention flattered, elated, and a little frightened. Such stiff competition, and yet you chose me. Oh, well, perhaps, but unbecoming of me to flat out state it. I will make it my mission to prove you made the right choice 1,000 times over. Anything I can do for you, consider it most enthusiastically done. Please, there is little more to be said on the subject. The best thing you and I can do is march on towards whatever awaits us. The end may be close. Time to reap what we have sown. There's nothing that would give me greater pleasure. You must know, our relationship is the brightest spot in our otherwise bleak endeavor. To know you love me for the man I am and not the magic I command. None have loved me so purely before. You are everything to me. And yet our relationship is only a nascent fraction of what it will become. You give me hope. And I've not had that in some time. Oh, you know, filled with the bottomless dread that can only come from your own impending and self-inflicted death. Glad to have met you, though. At least I'm going out on a high. I'm many things to many people, but I'm never a man to throw the L word around lightly. I said exactly what I meant. I love you. You should never, never doubt that. Plenty of them, and all complicated. It's not easy to turn away from one you once loved, but now that I see our relationship with all the illumination hindsight has to offer, I mostly feel only regret. I was not the first wizard to fall under her spell, nor will I be the last. I was an amusement to her. Mortal to be trifled with, amused, and eventually discarded. I regret the way I hurt her, of course I do. But she would have seen me destroy myself to earn her forgiveness. There's no love lost between us. None at all. What a question. No. You're not the first. Though you are the first since my relationship with Mystra came to its ignominious end. When the true danger posed by my condition became apparent, I had no choice but to sequester myself away from civilized society. A reclusive wizard. Who'd have thought? After so long with Mystra, I have to say the pleasures of mortal love are much sweeter than I remember. Though perhaps that's simply because it's with you.
The Edict of Bane.
The Lash of Thor!
Element of Merkel!
An elder brain. One of the cruelest and most powerful creatures in existence. Enslaved by mere mortals.
Look at that crown. It radiates with power unlike anything I've ever seen. To have it. To hold. Oh, if only I could. But I can't. This is it. I must do as Mystra commands. What choice do I have? More than just a goddess counseled my courage. Whole worlds hang in the balance. I love you too. Much more than myself. More even than Mystra. Very well. Whether I condemn this world or not, I choose you. I can't help but feel like I've been fumbling in the dark for too long, and I've just had a lit torch thrust into my hands. Indeed. Under other circumstances, I might have been subdued or ashamed, but after what we saw, I must admit, I'm excited. The crown! The one the Elder Brain was wearing. Netherese magic. So pure, so complete, that I didn't even recognize it at first. Most Netherese artifacts contain only the faintest amount of their former power, the ghost of an echo of a memory. That crown was different. I can't fathom how such a wonder survived. Surely everything of its ilk was destroyed along with Netheril itself, but no matter. It exists. I must learn more of it. I know what nearly happened, and I'm sorry for putting you in that position. But I've stepped back from the precipice now. I've seen what may prove to be another way. A better way. That crown sits on a gargantuan elder brain bent on destroying us and everything we hold dear. Understanding its true nature might unlock the means of our victory. We need to learn more about what we saw. An artifact as powerful as that crown must have been documented somewhere. As luck would have it, we'll soon find ourselves near one of the finest book collections this side of Candlekeep, Sorcerer's Sundries. I need to go there and learn all I can. Ha! Sorcerer's Sundries is no mere trading post. It's been serving the arcane community for centuries. Their collection of rare tomes is unparalleled. Netherese texts are hardly commonplace, but I'm certain they'll have one or two stashed away. You'll have to forgive my eagerness, but if my suspicions prove to hold water, this could be the answer to all our problems.
City of stone and steel is an endless scream in nature's womb. I have felt no peace here. Until now, your eyes, Stira. There is pain, endless and deep, but also devotion, blazing like the sun. You're in love. Are you not? You are wise to admit it. When it comes to love, vulnerability is armor, truth a sword, and trust a shield. I pray you wield all three, Stira. Bring the one you love to me. I will look into your hearts and see if your love is eternal or doomed eternally.
Thoroughly magical. Let's have at it.
Close your eyes, little ones. Be still as stone to earth. And remember to breathe. see you. I see the bond between you. So tender, so fragile. But do you see it for yourselves? Gale, the learned wizard, the charming gentleman, the walking apocalypse. Listen, think. If the wizard were given the choice, what food would he be?
Ah, the fruit of scholars. How I long to have a troop of loyal students grace me with apples by the orchardful in exchange for wisdoms imparted. Ah.
Hear how your bond thrums with pleasure. Strong, vital, pulsing with affection. The heart is fraught, so let us turn to the joyous. When is Gale happiest?
Bravo. That is indeed where my mind wanders to when times are hard.
The sweetest loves dance lightly on the tongue, but now we must dig deeper, into the most painful reaches of the spirit. We often gaze through a veil of roses, but love accepts both the petal and the thorn. Gale, what is his greatest flaw?
Hearing it said out loud. Yes, I fear it is true. Fate seems determined to make a sacrifice of me. But perhaps fate can yet be defied. A perfect score. Seems you know me better than I know myself.
How close you are. Two hearts beating a perfect rhythm. But I know the truth. Only one face haunts your dreams each night. Close your eyes, sweetness, and she will come to you.
So, you're the lick-spittle who crushed the Bone Lord's throne. Oh, have you come begging, sniffing for our stones? Gortash won't like that. A throat his black hand can't choke the spit from. Oh, your bond will not save you. He will wrap its cord around your neck and make you swing from it. When you find the Lordling, tell him Oren is watching.
Oren toys with us where she could destroy us. Whatever her motivations, I hope she reveals them quickly.
Mr. Dekarios, heavens! Fancy seeing you here.
Tara! That can't be you, can it?
I suppose you won't be terribly shocked to find your old friend Tara amongst the pigeons. They've always been a personal favorite.
My, is that a ring? For us? Ugh, you shouldn't have. Enjoy yourself now, Tara. Looks like you've got yourself set up quite nicely here. She isn't my Trezim. She's my friend. And from the looks of things, it appears she's eating pigeons. Oh, right. Did you hear that, Tara? Stop it?
Well, These must be important birds indeed, Mr. Dekarios. Forgive me for feasting on their bodies and bones so very voraciously.
Oh, she's agreed. Just about.
I want more than to fight at your side, or sit around the campfire with you. I want to lay with you under the stars and feel your skin against mine. I think you feel the same way. Why else would you have been so concerned about whether I had a lover before? But tell me I'm wrong, and the matter can rest. I do not wish to sour our friendship, but I have to know if it can be something more. You have bonded with Gale, body and soul. His scent lingers on your skin. If there is to be anything between us, it must be with his consent. And perhaps someday, his participation. Some treat their relationships like a walled garden. Tidy, tamed, cut off from the world. That is their right, but it is not for me. I do as nature does, and let my heart run wild. Desire flourishes wherever it finds purchase. It has its place, but it is not for me. The wolf mates for life, but the bear roams free and partners as its instinct dictates. I need to stay true to my nature, and you to yours. Perhaps you are like me, or perhaps not. Take your time. I'll be waiting.
Yours. What do you need? What, like a child? I'm not sure I consider myself father material. Plus, our current lifestyle isn't exactly what I'd call settled. Apologies. I was foolish enough to convince myself that I was enough for you. Call me selfish or old-fashioned, but I cannot agree to that. Either we dedicate ourselves to one another, or this ends here. Very well. Let's not speak of this again. Given my condition, I'm not sure it's wise for me to invite undue stress upon myself.
Did you find time to speak with your partner? A potentially delicate topic, I understand. I cannot blame them. It is understandable why someone would want to keep you all to themselves. Even if it is not my way. I understand. And I still cherish our relationship. Still, I could not have forgiven myself had I not taken the plunge. Better to have tried and failed. In either case, I will remain by your side for whatever you need of me. Until the very end.
A new face? Looking for another chapter of dirty lore for your biography?
You have but to ask, and we can grant you a moment of pleasure. Don't be shy.
What do you think, silly? Love, of course. Hot and vulgar with me, or sweet and sincere with my sister. Trust me, you don't want to miss my signature Mesobaranzan love trick.
And is that your partner with you? What a gorgeous couple. Perhaps we could come to an agreement. Well, there are two of us, aren't there? Use your imagination.
This is all a bit much for me.
Back home in Waterdeep, I prefer to have Tara leave the room before I undress. I might enjoy watching you tangled up with the drow, as long as I was 5 paces back.
Charming.
There must be a sprinkling shower of gold first. Coin.
Let's go. This is thrilling. Quite the merry little party we have assembled here. Shall we? I hope you're not afraid of the dark, my darling. I must snuff out the lights before we begin. It's all part of the experience. The room is bathed in total darkness, so there is nothing to distract from your ecstasy.
The lady, Nim, moves your hand to where the clasps of her blouse lie. As soon as you begin, you hear a zap of magic over from where Gale last was. With a scamper, he's gone from the room, and in his place is...
Hello! I'm here on behalf of Gale of Waterdeep to participate in this evening's activities. He would like me to assure you all that I am anatomically accurate.
Oh, an illusory wizard.
Fear not. There are still many things we can do with you.
I am involved. I'm taking notes, making observations. I'll enjoy myself well enough from back here. You go on and do the rutting, or what have you.
As you enjoy yourself with the drow, the image of Gale tuts disapprovingly. But the orb in his naked chest glows with telltale excitement.
The devil himself is pursuing the crown. As for whether it's truly the crown Carter's forged, well, I think it's safe to assume we shouldn't take anything Raphael utters at face value. We must claim the crown of Carsus for ourselves, before anyone else does.
Thou hast now a bosom companion. Take care that thou art not distracted on thy quest, seeking the comforts of the flesh. Recall that in time, all becomes dust and bone.
Bustle here takes some getting used to. Crackling fire and a tressum for company is usually more my speed. Still, we must flow with the current we find ourselves in, however tumultuous it may be. If you've need of me, I'm glad to help. No. What we should be pursuing is knowledge. We need to learn more about that crown. We should pay a visit to Sorcerer's Sundries. Their book collection is the envy of the Sword Coast. I'm certain the truth lurks somewhere on their shelves. Ha! Sorcerer's Sundries is no mere trading post. It's been serving the arcane community for centuries. Their collection of rare tomes is unparalleled. Netherese texts are hardly commonplace, but I'm certain they'll have one or two stashed away. You'll have to forgive my eagerness, but if my suspicions prove to hold water, this could be the answer to all our problems.
It is said to be written by Lord Carsus himself, the Netherese arcanist who attempted to replace the goddess Mystra. Failed, and was banished for the attempt. Great magical knowledge lies within those pages, but not many can withstand it.
That's it. That's what I need.
The annals of Carsus would no doubt have much to say about the crone's true nature. If only you could read them.
Annals of Karsus. The preamble to a civilization's downfall, committed to parchment by the very hand that wrought its destruction. If the crown atop the Elder Brain was truly forged by Karsus himself, this book will confirm it. All we have to do is turn the page. That devil Raphael was telling the truth. There's no doubt. The crown of Karsus is what's controlling the Elder Brain. And this is no mere journal. It contains Karsus's original plans for the crown's construction. His designs for godhood. Not exactly. It was what he did with it that sealed his fate, and, for a time, that of magic itself. The crown was merely the means. The book states that the crown and netherstones were originally one construct, seemingly sundered at the moment of Karsus's downfall. If we can collect the crown's setting and the 3 netherstones, and with the correct invocation of certain spells and gestures detailed in these notes, I think I could reforge it. Well, there'd be risk in such an endeavor, but only proportionate to the reward. Just think of it. The power of the gods in mortal hands at last would be free of doctrine and dogma, confined only by the limits of our imaginations. We must discuss this further, but quietly, privately. Find me later, and I will show you something truly divine. I will show you what a crown like this could mean for both of us. I can hardly wait.
Of course not. But perhaps, after enough lifetimes, I might make a start of it.
He would seek the power of gods for the pettiest of reasons. His own gratification. At least I seek them for the better of all.
What's that? I didn't quite catch the words, but the insolent tone was clear enough.
Pitying, not insolent. You chase one power without knowing an even greater one lies within my reach. The crown of Karsus. Once we acquire it, your ambitions will be dwarfed. I'll be able to stand against Mystra and wrest her powers from her for the betterment of all.
The crown of Karsus? Nonsense. Even if it still existed, you couldn't possibly handle its power.
Perhaps you could not. But Netherill's power is in my blood. And Mystra? I know her in ways that most mortals can only dream of.
Ah. So it is you. Mystra's discarded lapdog. And now you think your bark is cause to make me tremble?
There is no need for me to bark. My actions will speak for themselves. In time.
Then go. Act. I'll open a fine vintage in your name, once word of your failure reaches me.
That charlatan Leroican thinks he can best Dame Aelin. He's even more clueless than I believed. We should inform her of his delusions. No doubt she'll have great fun in dispelling them. I must admit, the crown of Karsus has occupied my every thought since I learned of it. If I can seize it and use it, the possibilities for us are infinite. Words alone are not enough. Permit me to show you. Please, close your eyes a moment. A little boat voyage, that's all. Indulge me. Astra navigamus. Few mortals ever glimpse what you're about to see.
But don't be alarmed. I'm here with you. Now, open your eyes. The Outer Planes. This is where gods dwell. They observe us from afar, where they make playthings of us. They will keep all of this from us. The power, the possibilities. They only want us to serve them, to pray to them, and ultimately to die for them. But what if we didn't need them? What if we wielded their power instead and helped ourselves in all the ways they refused to? I could make that happen. I could make this illusion a reality, with you by my side. No, not like that. I don't want to join them, I want to better them. A god's powers paired with a mortal conscience, a mortal heart. The tadpoles, the orb, these threats to our existence, the gods could aid us if they wished, but instead they cower behind Io. So let us act ourselves. With the power of the crown, any foe would be rendered impotent, any obstacle would be dwarfed by our might. I used to believe Mistress Forgiveness was worth dying for. But I was wrong. You showed me just how much I have to live for. With you, I forget, my goddess. I love you. Tell me you feel the same way. Tell me you want what I want. Please. I swear to you, it's merely a tool, a means to an end. You told me once to choose you, the one who loved me. That's what this is all about. Do you doubt me? What more is there to be said? But I could be so much more to you. I hope you're right. I truly do. Godly power, perhaps I can live without, but you? You're everything. You put the stars to shame. Let's sit here another while. I want to drink you in. My love, I hope you enjoyed our voyage through the cosmos. I was hoping you might have a moment to talk about it. Neither have I. The closest thing to a deserving canvas on which to place your beauty. But I've also not forgotten why I took you there. I hope you don't think less of me. Great ambition should not come at the expense of what you already hold dear. I see that now. True. Perhaps my notions lean too optimistic. I would not wish Karsus's past to become my future. Not while I have you. Was there anything else you wish to discuss?
There's nothing that would give me greater pleasure.
Elminster?
Oh, hello, my boy. No, don't mind me. I'm just enjoying a lungful of Baldurian air. Yes, a distinctive aroma, though perhaps not one worthy of bottling. I hear you've been browsing in the most esteemed of Emporium's sorcerous sundries. Indulge my curiosity. What wonders did you discover there? So, you have learned the truth of the enemy we face. The very tool with which its eponymous creator unmade magic itself. Perhaps now you understand what is at stake here, my boy. Though what Mr. asked of you was extreme, it was not without merit, nor demanded lightly.
What are you saying? Or rather, what are you not saying?
Mr. knows you defied her, Gale. Well, of course she knows. She's Mistra. She bids you come to her holy shrine in the Stormshore Tabernacle. There, she will grant you an audience at last. Not true. Not even close. Mistress' ways may seem cold, high-handed, tyrannical even. But she is a goddess. Her ways are not for mortal reckoning. Though some mortals come close to understanding. Very close indeed. Trust in yourself. Trust in the weave. If you are willing, trust in Mistra. There is a conclusion yet to be written in this sorry tale, Gale of Waterdeep. And yours is the quill that will write it.
My time is yours. What do you need?
I've often asked myself the same question, and never really found a satisfactory answer. He clearly sees something in me that I can't. The wisdom and intelligence required to overcome almost insurmountable odds, perhaps? Or the stupidity required to attempt it. I take it as a compliment either way. You don't get to be 13 centuries old without becoming a sound judge of character. And cheese, apparently. I regret many things in my life. Choosing to be here, intact and unexploded, is not one of them. Though the orb still seems to offer our best hope of destroying the brain, I retain some hope that another, less costly solution can be found. For now, to have a few more days in your company, no. I wouldn't change a thing. So all it took to get Mistra's attention was to learn how to reforge an artifact that once destroyed her. It's obvious when you stop to think about it. The Weave is a highly sensitive, magical network threaded through all life on this plane. Any shift,
in magical energy, no matter how small, is akin to a beacon, alerting Mystra to its cause. Opening a book, like the Annals of Karsus, was akin to us shooting a firework spelling, "Look at us, Mystra," directly into the skies of Elysium. She knows. This is a conversation that's long overdue on both sides. I owe it to her to hear her out. Come what may afterwards. After you.
She stands just as Elminster promised. Mystra, goddess of the weave, mother of all magic.
The old man wasn't lying. She's opened the summoning channel. Can't you feel it?
Gale's right. The very air around the statue crackles with magic, as though the weave itself were coursing beneath her stony skin.
A stream of pure, undiluted weave. I only have to reach out, and it will carry me to Mystra, wherever she may be.
Go on then, Gale. We'll be here waiting for you when you're finished.
Time was, I'd have given my right arm for a chance to speak with Mystra again. The left one, too. Maybe a knee. Am I? You're right. I am a strong, capable wizard. And this is no more than a casual reunion with an ex-lover. My omnipotent, omniscient ex-lover. I always wonder what being nervous would feel like. I hate it. During my time locked away in Waterdeep, I prepared a quite comprehensive speech for her on the subject of our former relationship and the manner in which it ended. Alas, recent events have rendered the majority of it moot, so I'm going to have to improvise. Unless you have any words of wisdom to impart before I go. The summoning channel Mystra has provided is for me alone. No one else is permitted to enter it, no matter how talented a user of the weave they are. You'd make a fine three-dragon anti-player, you know? I think it's best I keep a cool head going into this. Approach it like a particularly high-risk round of three-dragon ante. I'll let Mystra show her flight, and then I can see how strong a chance we stand of winning the gambit. I'll only be gone for a matter of moments. The Outer Planes experience time quite differently to our own. Wait for me. Please.
Gale of Waterdeep, you look well.
As do you. But I assume we're not here solely to exchange compliments. So why am I here?
You discovered what lies at the heart of the Absolute, the crown of Karsus. And you disobeyed my instruction. Why?
Because you had no right to ask that of me. You cast me out. Remember?
You were my lover, my chosen. Yet still you know so little of me. The past cannot be undone with self-pity, nor can a future be forged. Only with the truth will you see the way ahead. The fragment of magic you tried to return to me was not of my creation. It was the Karsite weave. It is a corrupted, half-born magic, wrought in the brief moment Karsus ascended to godhood. It hungers for power, just as he did, and it can never be sated. You unleashed something that would consume all magic in existence, and yet you thought only of preserving yourself.
So that's what you're scared of. With the crown of Karsus reforged, I could take control of the Karsite weave.
You can no more control the Karsite Weave than a weather vane could control a storm. That it entered your body and consumed no more than your powers was a miracle. But we will not be granted another. The only reason the orb sleeps is because I have allowed it to feed on the true weave. A temporary measure, but one that will not be enough to save us. With each day that passes, the Elder Brain threatens to become a new kind of god. Its worshippers, a scourge of soulless illithids. If you will not use the orb to end this abomination, then you must find a way to separate crown and host. When you've done this, you must surrender the crown of Karsus to me.
A great ask indeed. You've given me much to think on, as you always did.
So be it. Follow the needle of your own wisdom. We shall see how truly it leads you.
Back on mortal soil once more. I can't believe I saw it. After all this time. And what you felt was but the slightest drop, drawn from the rushing torrent that is the weave. I confess, without my former prowess, even I struggle to stand her presence. The effects on the mortal body of such unfettered magical exposure cannot be overestimated. She held back in order to protect us, to make sure I heard her. The Karsite weave, within me this whole time. I knew the orb was no ordinary ball of magic before it to be Karsus's malignant creation. Gods! How did I not see that? True enough. There's a reason such unwitting heroes have been the backbone of lyric and legend for as long as both have existed. Even so, I was hardly some naive apprentice at the time. I considered myself an archmage, and yet was fool enough to be mistaken for a common conjurer. At least now I'm armed with the truth, and Mistra's expectations. Sounds like the door to redemption is open at last. All I have to do is walk through it, carrying the crown of Karsus. Thank you. There aren't many I'd trust to stand beside me on such a journey. Fewer still who would do so because they believed I deserved such a chance. If I could promise you one thing in return for your faith in me, it's this. I will use everything in my power to ensure we defeat this evil. I will not let you down. Now, I believe we've a date with an Elder Brain to get to. Shall we?
Are you all right? If you need me, just say the word. Strangely, no. Once, a mere glimpse of her face would have been enough to turn my insides over. But not this time. In her likeness, I used to read 1,000 stories. She was beauty, wisdom, elegance, power. She contained universes. But now, it's hard to see any redeeming qualities in a lover who condemned you to death. I'd much rather gaze into your eyes than hers. Yours are capable of tenderness and feeling. No god could ever compare. There's nothing that would give me greater pleasure. An easy proposition for the Emperor to make, become a mind flayer. It has no soul to sacrifice. If it did, perhaps it would understand the weight of what it's asking of us, and why we might seek an alternative. The thought must have crossed your mind, and has certainly weighed on mine. I think it's time we reconsider the orb. With its power, I could put an end to this whole thing. Crown, Netherbrain, Absolute. Everything. In a word, yes. The real question is, do you trust me? Do not mistake me, I want to live. But I've been careless enough with my life in the past. I can hardly stand by and watch you sacrifice yours. Once I'm in position, I'll ensure you are removed to a safe vantage point to watch the fireworks. You need not die alongside me, nor surrender your soul in becoming an illithid. I like the sound of that. Very well. We'll do this the old-fashioned way, then. Swords, spells, and sweat. Adventurous to the end. Whatever form it may take.
High above the city now, far away from any innocence. I can end this now. Stop the Absolute and spare the city. The stage is set for my final act. Mystra's bidding and the redemption that lies beyond.
You brought me right where I need to be. I have no right to ask more of you. It's time I spirited you to safety. For this is a fate I must face alone. As much as I enjoy your company, I'm not willing to kill you just to wring out a few last moments. It's just a choice between two deaths. Quick and meaningful, or torturous and pointless. It's now or never. This isn't giving up. It's securing victory at a price I am willing to pay. And everything we shared can live on. With you. Please. For too long, I've lived in fear of taking a host of innocents with me when I expired. Now at least I can be assured my demise will be saving them instead. If you're mistaken, this could be the end of everything. We'll be failing right at the last hurdle. But I only made it this far thanks to you. Who am I to question such sterling guidance now? Mystra won't be pleased. But perhaps trying to please the gods is a fool's errand. Lead on, then. I shall stay my hand as long as I can. But if the tide of battle turns against us, remember I have the means to bring a swift end to this.
It's over. It's truly over. Against all odds, we cured ourselves. Free from the parasite. Free from the prospect of ceremorphosis. I can hardly believe it. We will not become accursed illithids.
Not to cast any slight on you, of course. Your present form is but a sign of your gallantry.
It's all right. I knew what I was doing.
The Githyanki are departing in peace. Curious sight in a day already full of them.
With the Githyanki gone, there's nothing left but the silence of the city. Smoldering, waiting to be rebuilt. But it seems that Gale's mind is elsewhere.
The crown. It's somewhere in the Giontha. If I salvage the stones, I can reforge it. The power of Karsus would be in my hands. But what then? What would I do with it once I have it? Sage and timely counsel, as always. And I intend to heed it. A wise man learns from his mistakes and strives not to repeat them. I shall bring the crown to Mystra. She'll cure me of my affliction. And I'll finally be free. And a more deserving one this time around. If this adventure has taught me anything, is that there are things in this world far more valuable than power. You, for example. You're always wiser than me when it mattered most. Besides, grown quite fond of this merry band of ours, but I'd quite like to see what happens to it. I'm sure Mystra will summon me soon enough, but until then, I propose we celebrate our victory the mortal way, with a drink in our hands and reckless abandon in our hearts. Wonders and monstrosities we've witnessed. Waking beside you seems more unreal than any of it. I've forgotten what it felt like. To greet a sunrise without fear of it being my last. Soon, I'll deliver the crown to Mystra and be rid of the orb at long last. I'll be free. Oh, him! Huh. I've been thinking a lot about that. Gale of Waterdeep. Sounds a bit pompous, don't you think? I thought I might take this opportunity to reinvent myself. Or uninvent myself, to be more accurate. You're now in the company of plain old Gale Dekarios, a most brilliant wizard of intentionally limited renown. At your service. Now, I believe this is the moment where I should get to my point, so to speak. I love you. More than I've ever loved anyone, mortal or immortal. And you've proven your love for me in more ways than even the greatest mathematicians would dare to count. That being said, I wondered if you might consider accompanying me back to Waterdeep as a new member of the Dekarios clan. I suppose I am. Tara would be delighted, not to mention my mother. But I'd be just as happy without such ceremony. So long as we're together. You will? Oh, thank goodness for that. We'll need to make the arrangements, of course. The Dekarios clan is scattered far and wide, and you'll have invites of your own to send out, I'm sure. But that's all to come. The day is young, and there are thousands more days ahead of us.
Oh, hello, darling. I wasn't sure you'd make it. Yes, you are a very social sort, aren't you? Gale's never been kept so busy in all his days. No wonder his studies are suffering. But such is the way of love, isn't it? I suppose you do. All I ever wanted was for Gale to settle down. But now that he has, I miss him. Yes, I am. And you're a dear for putting up with this cranky old Tressim. I may show my claws now and then, but I hope I never scratch you too deeply. Gale, on the other hand, the way he leaves his potions in absolute disarray. I know for certain he wasn't raised in a barn, but you'd never know it. We must begin our campaign to set him on the straight and narrow when we return home. Now, enjoy your party. You've quite earned it, if the balladeers are to be believed.
You're quite certain I look acceptable. Our adventures rarely lend themselves to luxury. Or cleanliness, for that matter. It's been some time since I've made such an effort. That's a relief. I wasn't sure if I'd made too much of an effort. Or perhaps not enough.
If only you'd applied those efforts to that thing on your chin.
The day I shave this beard, Tara, is the day I shave you. For both our sakes, I hope it never comes. I won't keep you to myself for too long. But while I have you, I want to say thank you for encouraging me to attend this evening. I confess, when I left Waterdeep, there was a part of me afraid that I might regret my decision. But I never have. The chance to see life through your eyes, as well as my own. It's been everything I hoped it would be. I'm delighted to be here amongst friends again. But part of me is reluctant to step away from our new life, even for such a gathering as this. Come now. Our adventures have offered far more than the potential for destruction. I have enough looted literature to fill a dozen libraries.
I'm just glad I'm not the only one encouraging you to leave the library once in a while. It does one good to feel the grass beneath one's paws from time to time.
I don't know where to begin in telling people what we've been up to. I suspect they won't believe me. What can I say? You're an excellent teacher. Our lives are certainly a far cry from the one I once pictured. Even now, with the orb's fires quelled by Mystra at last, I scarcely dare believe it. Before we met, I fear I was rather stuck in my ways. And stuck inside my tower with a world-shattering orb of magic sealed within my chest, to be fair to myself. I was afraid to so much as dream of a night like this. To hope that my life might amount to more than lonely, bitter disappointment. And then I found you. Standing here, now, I no longer see the people we were. Frightened, desperate, alone. We changed. We survived. And we did it together. I've missed them. I've missed this.
And Tara, mind?
I could never forget about you, Tara. You wouldn't let me. God knows we suffered for our salvation. But it was worth it, wasn't it? We did something incredible. And wherever life takes us, we'll carry the memory of that with us forever. Now, much as I could spend an eternity in your company, we see plenty of each other already. Tempting as it is to keep you all to myself, would be terrible company if we didn't mingle for at least part of the evening. I love you. Now go on, before I change my mind.